Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. Let's level with one another. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a very interesting project. It's that project where a lot of people who were looking at the game, not necessarily looking forward to the game, have already made up their minds. So let's start from the outside. So those who may be just, in a sense wanting to enjoy a superhero game, from the outside, they've looked at the game and they've said, this looks like something I'll dive into. Some others have said, this looks like something I'm not going to touch. Now we're going to move to the side of the people who were looking forward to the game. And when I mean forward to the game, I'm talking about those of you who were there at the DC Fandom event where you saw the unveiling of this game for the very first time. Even in that category, people have already made up their minds. And then when you come into, say, the core, which is the hardcore, those folk have already made up their minds as well. So this is not a game where anyone is still sort of wondering, I wonder if I'm going to buy Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. No, I think almost everyone who knows about this game already kind of has an idea, or at least has a 90% idea as to how they will approach it. Whether they're going to be buying it day one, whether they're going to be waiting for a sale, or whether they're not going to touch the game at all. So this is where I think the best side of the conversation is, because for the most part, many have already made up their minds. And I think it's easy to address all of the different concerns and address all of the different aspects as clearly as we possibly can. I watched this particular video, the 19-minute showcase that they put up on YouTube. My first video, I talked about how I thought the messaging had some areas where I thought they could, in my opinion anyways, level with the community that they're marketing this game to. Having watched the rest of the video and looking at what they have from the perspective of story and gameplay, I'm not necessarily convinced that they can actually draw those on the outside of that community. And this is, remember, I gave you guys 3 levels, right? Those looking at, looking forward to, and those in the hardcore side of things, right? Those who are even on the further, part outside, looking at and looking forward to, that have already made up their minds. I think this particular episode 1 did not necessarily, in my opinion, seem to sell the game to them. You see, I'm looking at my own perspective, who I'm in the core, the hardcore. Me, a lot of other folk, we're already looking at, okay, this is the game that we're going to be looking at and playing. No problem with that. So Warner Bros. Montreal, Rocksteady don't need to really market to us in a sense. I guess this informational is to continue to help us kind of realize what the game may have. But in reality, we've already made up our minds, right? In a sense, except maybe something changes. We're going to eventually say, okay, maybe we're not going to buy. But for the most part, folk like us, we're going to get the game. As for the others who are looking outside, here are some of the things that kind of made me go, this is really interesting that this particular, studio got this mandate from Warner Brothers to go ahead and make this game. Ladies and gentlemen, remember months ago, I'd been saying this. Warner Brothers Games is profitable when they go with the live service aspects. When they merge with Discovery, a lot of the other heads of different departments in the Warner Brothers Entertainment arm actually left their positions. The only person that I know of, and this is from reports, that did not leave is the person in charge of the 11 game studios, and that person was profitable according to the reports that we saw. So this emphasis that you're seeing on the live service aspect seems like it's going to continue to go on. What's even crazy is right now there are talks that it appears that Wonder Woman is more than likely going to have live service elements. Now, this is something where I've seen some people, in a sense, do the thing that gamers do a lot, where they kind of forget or are not aware of history around specific games, because time is one of those very interesting, in my opinion anyways, interesting, factors that can literally take away, a lot of the thinking that somebody may have undergone or whatever it is, right? Now, here is the thing. Those of you who are saying, well, we trust Monolith and whatever it is that they're going to do is going to be a good project because they brought Middle-earth, Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, you have to understand that your trust in Monolith is probably, in a sense, unfounded, because they are receiving their instructions from Warner Media, the same Warner Media that has actually put this particular Suicide Squad game into motion. Once you look at it from that perspective, you will realize that you're more than likely better off going in with a cautious aspect. You have to go in keeping your expectations realistic, because Middle-earth Shadow of War, if you didn't remember, if you forgot, had a store that bought time savers. Have you all forgotten? You could actually buy microtransactions in a single player action RPG action adventure game. And this was something that the community railed over for a very long time. If you don't remember, maybe I should go back and probably refresh your memory, because these time savers somehow in, the history of the internet pretty much goes away. And so somehow everyone is like, oh, this is something that, it's not really a big deal and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is this was actually a thing, and a lot of gamers actually railed against it. In fact, if you actually come out here and look and say, what is the Middle-earth Shadow of War, game? What does the spending look like? You're going to see that even Destin from IGN had actually done a video at the time and talked a little bit about it. You're going to see that a lot of gaming media, covered what in the world was going on, because even they thought it was a very interesting take. It was so bad that at the end of the day, they had to go ahead and take this darn thing off of the store. They had to go ahead and take this darn thing off of the game. So actually, Destin did a video saying what spending $100 gets you in Middle-earth Shadow of War. And this was just not the game. This was literally chests that you could use to get all kinds of stuff. And so don't be fooled. This is the direction that they're going. So know how to actually approach this and know how to accordingly. Most of us here on YouTube, we, in a sense, are those people that can actually take a hit regarding, these games, because we do YouTube. Our job is to open up and unveil things that may be in these games and tell you about. But this is not to say that any studio is absolved of what their publisher actually wants them to do. And the crazy thing is, these developers are actually very talented developers overall. So if you're saying Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and you're saying, I don't really know about this, and all of that, this is the reality that this, particular publisher has decided to go with. And so the best thing is to just watch from the sidelines if you're not certain, or in order for you to reduce getting any disappointment. And again, I'm going to reiterate this point because I have to reiterate it. And I remember those who told me that Gotham Knights was trash and Suicide Squad was going to be a banger, but I see them flaking now, and they would not stand and support the game that they were hyping, because when we told them that the reality of the matter was Gotham Knights is more of a single player experience and has the co-op experience that people may have been thinking Suicide Squad was going to have, they did not believe at that time. And now many of them want to turn around and say, oh, Suicide Squad is not really a good game, or blah, 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 blah. No. You knew that Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, or maybe in your mind you had the idea that it was going to be this kind of game, but you ignored it and you wanted to be blinded to that fact. There's no reason for that. Gamers, for the most part, can be intelligent people, but at the same time, sometimes they really want to play coy or play like this innocent lamb in a sense. Not allowed. This is the game that we're getting, and to be very honest, like I said at the beginning of this video, it just seems like it's probably not going to sell itself or convince a lot of people outside based on, and this is very carefully stated, based on the 19 minutes that I saw today. Now, moving forward, Rocksteady probably has, in my opinion, opportunity to continue to showcase what their game is about, but I think there are some things that are missing from here that we'll probably talk about in a separate video so that we can see where these opportunities are. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.